Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to start my episode 2 of a try a chapter tag that I'm doing series this this year. I have a cart that many years ago I put most of them are first books in series of urban fantasy and paranormal romance. There's a few that are light fantasies that are in there as well, but they're all mass market paperbacks, and I've got them off my shelf thinking, well, if I put them all there, then I will, grab those more often and, get through them because my shelves were kind of filling up. And I just never grabbed them. They actually kind of went out of sight, out of mind by putting them on the cart unless I thought about them. So I've decided to do a kind of a series of them because there are 50 books on that cart approximately. There might be one or two that I pull and I might be able to find there's other books buried in here that I'm pretty sure I could pull if I don't hit exactly 50 because I'm gonna have 5 videos on this. And what I'm gonna do is try them, do a little taste test of each book and decide if I want to unhaul it, which means get rid of it, or if I kind of maybe, which is I want to give it either another chapter or two, like read a little bit more, or I want to think about it a little bit more and see if I'm really intrigued or not to read that book, or definitely a keep pile. So I already did one episode of this and it went pretty well. Half of them were keep and the other ones were kind of a mixture of unhaul and kind of maybes. So I have another stack here. So it's as I said, I just grabbed them off the cart. They used to be kind of in an order, but I don't think they are anymore. Even the last time I had a lot of like demon books were all together. They must have still been together. So there could be like that might happen again. So I pulled the bottom row on this one, all but 1 or 2 of the books that I'll read at a different time. So let's talk about the ones that I've picked, and then as I said, I'll go more in depth when I read them and talk about the series and how many are in them when I do that. So the first one is Mortal Coils by Eric Nyland. I'm pretty sure this is more on the fantasy side, but I think it's a post-apocalyptic, but I'm not positive. Carrie Arthur, City of Light is the first book of the Outcast series. M.L. Scott, Shadowkin is the first book in the Half-Light series. Half-Light City series, sorry. Koiki by Keith Yatsuhashi. I don't know if this one's a series, but this one it's a fantasy, but it feels very urban fantasy. So, I mean, that's why it's in here. So this is the only book that I have attempted before, but I put it on here because I'm going to give it another shot because I found a really cheap beat up copy. And that's Moon Called by Patricia Briggs, which is the Mercy Thompson series, which I know a lot of people love this series, but I DNF'd this book probably about 100 pages in. Like when this came out, I had a copy and got rid of it. So this is a second chance on this one. But I know everybody loves that series, but there's something that happens in the first book that I don't know if I can get past it again. We'll see. But I'm going to try the beginning again and see if I'm willing to take a chance again. Heart of the Dragon by Gina Showalter. I just have to show you this. This is fantasy romance, I think. Or it's Atlantis is the series. This is what most of the covers look like. I have this other copy or this other part of the series I picked up really cheap at one point, but these go together. This is the first book. I just had to show you because the other covers are all like, like the dude standing anyway. And this one has this cover, and this is the first book in the Atlanta series, from what I understand. Well, guess we'll find out. Nightlife by Caitlin Kittredge. This is the first book in the Nocturne City series. Primal Law by J.D. Tyler, which is an first book in the Alpha Pack series. Tempest Rising by Nicole Peeler. I don't remember the name of the series, but this is one I got at a little free book exchange at one of the gyms I went to at one point, and I did read the first chapter. I don't remember something in the water. I don't know one of those creatures. I don't remember. I know I started it and then I never finished it. And then God Save the Queen by Katie Locke. I recently bought this, but I've had this on ebook since it came out, and this is more of a historical urban fantasy, I think, with during Victorian times. So I'm really excited because the Victoria, Queen Victoria is undead. So anyway, so those are the books that I am going to try this time around. As I said, once I've read a couple of them, I will come back and go through them and give you more details about the series, and then if I'm going to keep them or put them in the maybe pile or unhaul them. Okay guys, so Cooper is here. It's the first day I get to wear sweats, and he is taking advantage of it by laying on me, but he keeps cuddling. Anyway, so I read the beginning of the first 3 books, so this didn't go so well. Anyway, I read the first 20-some pages. I think it was 22 pages of Heart of the Dragon by Gina Showalter. Again, this is the one that I have the extra book of in the series, which turned out to be book 4. This is a 4-book and then a novella series. So it's not super long. I kind of think it might be connected to one of her other series, but I'm not positive. I did not like this. Maybe it's because it starts out with him, and again, it's sad at the beginning because of stuff that happened. And he is made into this guardian at a very young age. He's a child. His family has just been killed. And, you know, he's still reeling from this. It's just happened. And they make him become this guardian. And then we're, you know, 300 years later. And it has to do with Atlantis. And again, he's guarding some myths of some sort. And he's supposed to kill anybody who comes in. And then so I read the prologue and the first chapter. And then the second chapter was going to start with Grace, who is the female character. But I only read the first page because the first thing we hear about her, she's lost in the wilderness somewhere in the Amazon. And I think she's a virgin. And I went, I'm done. I'm not doing that. Like, that's ridiculous. She's from New York. That's all we found out. She's from New York. She's lost in the Amazon and she's a virgin. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm pretty sure that's what that said. Or maybe it was saying that she was single. I'm pretty sure it said, yeah, that she'd never, yeah, she wasn't married and she'd never had sex. And I was like, and she still was going to die. You know, it might be funny, but I just don't care. And I'm trying to explain why I had trouble with the guy, Darius, I think his name is. Because again, with all the bad stuff that happened in his youth, and then he becomes his guardian, he kind of locks away all his feelings. So there's going to be one of those ones where, you know, the woman opens up his I just don't care. So I'm going to get rid of both books for that one. That's an unhaul. Then I read Tempest Rising by Nicole Peeler. So I read the first chapter, and I had read that first chapter before. I still like it. I don't love it. I'm still not sure what kind of creature she is but I'm guessing it's a Selkie or something. I'm not positive yet. The first chapter just kind of drops her and she lives in a small town. Her name is Jane True, and that's the name of this series. And I think there were 6 books in this series. I think that's right. I'll double check. Anyway, so she lives in this little Maine town. Something happened to her boyfriend years before, but also she is kind of she's like the weird kid that grew up and still lives there. She's in her 20s. She works at the local bookstore. It's a touristy town in Maine. So there's fishers, people who are fishermen, I mean, but the main businesses are tourists, but they're usually not open during the winter, but they are. So it's during the winter at some point. So there's not the tourist season. So she works at this bookstore. Her dad used to be a fisherman, but he is having medical problems for the last 10 years. So she's taking care of him, and her mother disappeared at some point, but there's a story about her mother, about how she appeared and then was weird. And then she is weird. I don't know. So this one's a maybe. I don't want to say for sure I would, again, because I did pick this up I'm going to say 15 years ago from that, used bookstore, or not used bookstore, from the gym. That was a free book. This one came out in 2009, so that'd be about right for that. This was 2005, just so you know. As I said, a lot of these are older ones that I'm trying to get through. So this one's a maybe. I'm still unsure. This is third person, multi-perspective, just so you know. And this one was first person, which is typical, again, of this genre. So, this actually is funny because this one has down at the bottom, Orbit has it down as fantasy horror. And I would just call this urban fantasy. So we'll see how it goes. I think this is going to be a maybe. I'm not going to put it on the for sure, to keep yet. I'm not sure on that one. And then I read, let's see here, this one, I read the first chapter of, it's Knife Light by Caitlin Kit Ridge. Anyway, so this is the first book in the Nocturne City novels or series. This one I think has 5. This one is a cop one. So this is more on the mystery noir side of urban fantasy. I mean, it's listed as a dark fantasy on here. But what this is this feels very noir. She's a cop, but she's also a werewolf, but she's kind of hiding that, and she's a lone wolf. She's not in a pack. And again, she's a homicide detective, so she works the night shift, and this young woman is killed, and there's something weird about it, but she's not sure what yet. And then she has some really horrible male co-workers who, again, it's so chauvinistic. It was kind of, I mean, again, this was 2008 when this was published, so I get it, but I'm also like, God, I'm just so over reading about it. And then she kind of blows it, or she does something that she shouldn't have. I don't know how much of a blowback will come from her kind of getting mad at this one guy who touched her when he shouldn't have. No, like, I'm like, totally. But again, if she's trying to not show her, anyway, point is that I just didn't care. Like, honestly, I don't think this is the book for me. I do like ones with mysteries. Mysteries are like one of my favorite elements in urban fantasy. And there's some cop ones that I have read in the past that I've enjoyed. This one just didn't do it for me. I guess because I felt like there was no reason for what she, I mean, I totally get her getting mad at the guy for touching her. Not even, like, that's not what I'm mad about. I don't like the way that she almost lost control over something that was really kind of little compared to what she's saying has happened in her past, in the past. And I'm like, I just didn't buy it. And so I don't care enough. So this one isn't on haul. So this section wasn't as good. I have 2 unhauls and a maybe. So we will see what the next section is going to be. One of them, again, the next section is one of the books I have tried in DNF before. So we will see what happens. Okay, I'm back with the next 3. This always takes longer than I think it's going to. Anyway, so the next one I read was Shadowkin by M.J. Scott. So I read, I think, about 18 pages, yeah. So this one is, it is a first-person narrative, but the narrative does have 2 main POVs that are both first-person, and the only way you can tell who's talking, because it threw me off when I looked at chapter 2. Like, there's a little moon symbol for the main lead character, female character, and then for the male... See if I can find one. Hold on. Oh, I just had it. Here. His little sun. So, this is about sun and night magic kind of thing. So, this is, I'm not sure. I'm still thinking this feels very urban fantasy because there's cars and things like that. But I don't know if it's this world or another yet. It's a little too soon to tell. But there are the Blood, who, again, are like vampires that rule kind of the night, and then during the day there are others. I don't know if the beasts are part of the Blood or something else. I'm still kind of confused, but there is a Blood Lord, Lucius, who pretty much has our main female character, who is not named yet. We just know her kind of as Shadow, right now. And she has been brought up, she was pretty much given over to him to be trained as an assassin. So she's his assassin. They call him Lucius his shadow, or, you know, she's the one who goes out and kills for him. So she is sent to kill somebody, but she doesn't know why. She's not told that. She goes to kill him, but he is a sun mage, so he has the power of the sun. So, but she is Wraith, so she has the power of shadows. So he is able to throw up all this sunlight, so she is it. So her shadows don't work. So he captures her. They have some conversation. We kind of learn a little bit about the world between that, but not a lot. And then he decides to let her go. So, but we don't know why her boss wants to kill him, or her master, or whatever, because she's pretty much a slave. And he wants her to, this Simon, who is the sun mage, wants her to leave Lucian, but she can't, and she can't explain why. And we don't know exactly what would happen, but he would come after her for sure. So, so again, she's an assassin, he's this mage, so, and he's light magic and she's shadow magic kind of thing. And that's about all I know so far, the first chapter. I really enjoyed this. I didn't love it. Like, I didn't like want to, I wanted to continue, that's for sure. I'm curious about how this is going to go. This is a 4-book series, so it's not super big. It's listed as fantasy, but it feels very urban fantasy to me, with magic in the world and stuff. And again, there's like vampires and beasts, I'm not sure. And then there's Templars, and again, he's a mage. Templars are like the warriors, human warriors, but I'm not sure how it all mixes in. Or, you know, if it's like Templars in the world, like in our world. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, this is a keep. I liked that one. So I will definitely pick that up at some point. Then I tried Primal Law by J.D. Tyler. This is the first book in the Alpha Pack series. This one has 7 novels and 2 novellas, at least that I could tell. So this one is very much paranormal romance, third person, with the 2 perspectives. So we're following Jax, who is a soldier who was attacked years ago by rogue werewolves. So now he is a werewolf in our world, and they're not known except to the government. The government knows about them because they are this alpha pack, this alpha, team of people who are wolves. Some of them are natural, or were born werewolves, and then there's his team, which had been made into them by rogues. Anyway, so we have them, and they have kind of some bad stuff in their past of things that happened and betrayals, and they're in Vegas, which is a little bit away from the army base that they are stationed at, or something like that. I'm not quite sure. They're in Vegas, a couple of them, to blow off steam, and he's supposed to meet up with this prostitute, and when they start to have a little fun out in public somewhere, he hears some screams, and he goes and rescues a scientist named Kira, who has just taken some secrets from some lab, and she is being followed because she stole the secrets, and we're not really, I don't know what kind of secrets, I don't know, so I didn't get that far. But she sees him transform to save her from the guards who came after her, and that's where I stopped. So, and again, I've read pretty far. I stopped because I had a prologue, and then it just kept going. Yeah, I got to page, I finished page 20, like to 23, and then I stopped. So, anyway, this is a maybe. The only reason it's a maybe is because the guys, the alpha pack, they're acting like an alpha pack. They're acting like, horny, randy boys. They're men, and they're army guys, and I get it, but I'm also like, I don't know. Maybe they're Navy SEALs. I don't remember. There's some kind of, they're, kind of like that. They're elite or whatever. But they were like, I don't know. It was, like, the prologue was good. I mean, bad things happened, but I meant, like, it was written well, and I was interested, and then we kind of had them going to Vegas, and then it sounded just kind of flippant about going to find women, you know, and I had real problems with that, I guess. So I don't know. I kind of think this is a maybe, because I think I'll read a little bit more to see how it handles with her, because he's smelled her, and like he's already kind of doing the alpha thing with protecting her in this instance, and he never saw her, you know, he just followed the scent and the screams. Anyway, so I don't know. It's kind of iffy, because it could go the wrong way for me with the alpha thing, because there's a lot of books I like where the guy's an alpha. Like, I have no problem as long as he's very respectful and he isn't an asshole. Anyways, we'll see. So I think that's a maybe. I'm not sure. I'm going to go maybe. I think I just need to read another chapter to make a decision on that one. I just didn't want to do that tonight because this is already going so long. And then I tried Moon Called Again by Patricia Briggs. This is the first book in the Mercy Thompson series. Again, I read this about, back in 2006 when it came out. I had gotten it like when it came out, and as I said, I don't know how far. I mean, again, I got to a certain point, something happens, and I DNF'd it. I was really actually very, very angry. And I don't even know if what I remember is correct about something that she makes a decision that makes absolutely no sense because she's trying to help someone, but she goes and does something else that just because it's from her past okay, that doesn't make any sense. But the point is, her decision makes no sense to me, dealing with the urgency that she's trying to help someone else, and it really pissed me off. So I never came back to this, and I got rid of that book a long, long time ago. But it is a series that so many people love, and I just kind of wonder, well, maybe if I just read a little bit farther, it would make more sense. But I was so angry at the time, and again, this was almost 20 years ago, so a long time ago, but I still remember being angry about that. And and again, I decided I wanted to try it again. So the first chapter of this one, again, Mercy is a mechanic and she has a shop, and she is more of a skinwalker that can turn into a coyote than a shapeshifter. There's differences, and she goes into that. The world building is really interesting in this one, with the way some creatures have come out into the world, but not everybody else is kind of hiding away. They don't want to be known about because of how badly it went with prejudices and violence against people who were different. So there's a lot of good things in here. She, a young boy or teenager who looks like he's a runaway or something, asked if he could make a little bit money, just kind of on the side. And she takes pity on him and lets him work around a little bit on the first chapter. And then she's worried about him, and she knows right away that he's a werewolf. And her neighbor is the werewolf pack leader. So she does know werewolves in here, but she tries to stay out of their way because, again, she's different. So they think they should dominate her, and she has to pretend like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. It's like she will, but she doesn't want to deal with it. So there's a lot of good and bad things about this. I know so many people love this series, but I am still mad about that one scene. And so I kind of think this is a maybe, because I think I want to try to read until I hit that scene again and see how I feel this time around. Because again, that was a long time ago. My reasons for putting it down before maybe are different now. I don't know. I still think about that scene, and I still get mad every time I think about it. It's one of those things that I still think about, that was why I DNF'd it, and I'm not mad about it. But anyway, I think I'm going to try that again. So I'm going to put it in the maybe pile. So that one was a little bit better. So I have one for sure. Kitty, Cooper, you're not helping me here. And then 2 maybes. So we're just going to go with that. So I am trying to stick. So I have 4 more. So I will come back when I have done those. And yes, the cats are all on me. They are cuddling because, again, it's the first time I'm wearing sweats because it's cool enough to do that. Of course, now I'm getting hot because they're on me. This is what I'm dealing with. This one keeps moving. back and forth or gets around me. And then the other one is zonked out. So yeah, they're hot fur balls. Right? Okay, I did the last 4, so it's almost 6 o'clock. So this took me about 4 hours of the afternoon. I did do sprints, so it kind of helped get through this. So anyway, I did the last 4. So let's go through them. So the first one I tried was Koiki by Keith Yotsuhachi, something like that. This was really good. This is actually, I think, is my favorite that I did for this round. This is so intriguing. So we have Keiko, who her father disappeared and left a death poem, and she doesn't know what happened to him back in America, and she has Japanese heritage, and so he leaves her a note tells her to go to Japan with her camera to see something through the camera, and doesn't really explain. There's like, that's like it. That's all she got. So she goes and she's on a tour, and she's been there for a few weeks touring and looking at all the, is it Torji? I don't know how you say that word. But they're like, you know, very famous, you know, in Japan. There's all over their shrines and even in their town, you know, in towns and stuff. So she's looking at them. It's these things, whatever those, I don't know how you say that word. Right off the top of my head, so I'll have to look that up. But so she is looking through them, and she's been there a couple weeks now, and it's, again, it skipped ahead time to that. And but she goes to she's on this tour, and so she's looking, she doesn't realize how many of these are in Tokyo alone, let alone all Japan. So she's been looking at them, and she's on a tour, and she spots somebody kind of strange who walks through the frame of her camera, because she's looking through the camera at these these structures, and he kind of looks at her, and she's like, well, he looks kind of weird, like he has kind of this glow around him. So she notices him, because she wasn't really paying attention to the people. She's trying to look at the places and the things, you know, the things around there. And then she walks on a little farther, and again she sees him, and she gets kind of lost from her tour group and follows him instead. She just automatically follows him, and then he disappears into this alleyway, and she's kind of trying to decide if she really should follow him, and she just does, because she's kind of curious. And when she's thinking about backing up and, you know, going back, something changes and something fantastical happens, and then she gets knocked out, or she loses consciousness, and she's not sure what's going on. And her tour guide comes back for her, and somehow she is involved. I'm not even sure how, but then the Keiko explains what happened, not like in full detail, just a couple details about what this fantastical thing that she saw. And the tour guide freaks out and says, we have to get out of here. And that's the end of chapter 1. So it was so interesting. This one's like totally top of my keep pile. I am definitely going to pick this up sooner rather than later. There only looks to be 2 books, so I'm hoping it's just a duology. So anyway, I really, really enjoyed that one. That was like my favorite one, because it's fantastical, and it was really good. Then I tried City of Light, the first book in the Outcast trilogy by Carrie Arthur. And this is like the second or third Carrie Arthur I've tried in years, and I think the writing style is just not for me. The first chapter was all exposition. I mean, or almost all. Like, it was pretty close to all. It was 20 pages, but it was like so much just pouring out of the history of this world, where 100 years before there was this big war, something happened, and the kind of the dimension was kind of like split. So it's like, so there was humans and shifters are fighting, but they brought by this, something happened. The vampires were there too, but there's also all these other creatures, demons and wraiths and death spirits that came out as well. So the city now is lit up during the night, like just fully lit up to keep away these dark elements, but a lot of them still survive, and there's supposed to be something kind of weird about some element that'll happen. But the first book has her tiger is this kind of humanoid who is created by the humans, as a weapon. And she's like one of the only ones left of her, of what she is called, what she is. And we have this whole thing of her waking up and going outside and finding that there's some child outside of the museum that she has her bunker is in, and she goes to save them. And there's also some shifter guard that is with her who's unconscious, and she has to save them from the vampire. So I only got to partway through the vampire attack and her trying to get them back to the museum. But I was kind of bored, even though there was action in the end. It just didn't draw me in. I think it's because the first 12, 15 pages of this was all exposition of her telling me about this story about the world. And I like being more dropped into the world, like as in that she went and found the kid and then, maybe then tell me stuff about the world. I don't know. It was boring and I just didn't like it. And I think I felt the same way about her other book that I tried a couple, years ago. I probably bought them around the same time. But anyway, this is one of the newer ones that was on my shelf that I think from 2016. But I just didn't like it. So I probably won't buy any more of her books, just because that's the second time I've bought one and I didn't like it. So anyway, I think other people will like this. I'm sure she's got a huge following. It's just, they don't work for me. It's not my kind of writing. So that one is Unhaul. Then I tried Mortal Coils by Eric Nudland. This also appears to be a duology. This one calls it fiction, but it's like, this has to do with gods and things like that. But we're starting out with two 15-year-olds, or they're almost 15. They're going to be 15 the next day. And they have very strict, their grandmother is pretty much raising them and very, very strict. And their great grandmother is there as well. I don't know about their family beyond that, but they obviously live kind of differently because she's homeschooling them, and their house is just full of books, like all different kinds of books, like thousands of books. And but they also have jobs. Like the first chapter was from the boy's perspective, and he, what am I trying to say? He was going to go work in a pizza place, and he's like 14, like almost 15. And so I'm like, what? So, I mean, again, I'm not saying that they can't work. I'm just saying he was going to work like all day, and then he had to do his homework when he got home at night. They'd given him assignments for homeschooling. So I don't know if it's just that they're broke. But anyway, they have all these rules. The grandmother has like the 106 rules that they can't do things. Like they can't waste money on hair products, or, to buy stuff from the store for shampoo and things like that. It's like weird things. So I don't know. But my problem with this is it read very YA. I think the story will get much darker, and I think it will probably be more, like all ages can read this, like, or, young adult and up can read this. But I didn't want to follow 15-year-olds and and the way that they were, and even if I felt bad for them. Anyway, so this is I'm not gonna read that one. That's gonna be an Unhaul. And again, as I said, I think other people will really enjoy it. I don't know where the gods thing come in. Obviously, they are twins, and they are they find out that they're the offspring of a goddess and Lucifer, Prince of Darkness, and then there's some epic battle. I don't know. If I didn't really care about them, they were kids. I have too many books. I'm not going to read that one. And then the last one I tried today, number 10, was God Save the Queen by Kate Locke. This one, I don't remember what the name of the series was. I forgot to write down what the series names this time around. The Immortal Empire book one. So this is a trilogy. All these last ones were short series. Anyway, so this one I really enjoyed, or at least enough that I want to continue on. We're following Alex, who is, she goes by Xandra, but Alexandra is her name. And she is, in this world, the aristocrats and in England have caught this disease, which makes them like vampires kind of thing. So, and then other creatures are created, like there are goblins who are like a mixture between maybe through the vampires and the shapeshifters. There are werewolves as well, but they're more in other countries, not as much in England. At least it seems like maybe there's some there too. We haven't got that far. We've seen goblins so far, so that was kind of interesting. So it's a whole nother world under in the underground, and the world is all changed so that this is like kind of like what it would be modern day, but if things went really badly during the Victorian era, is kind of how this went. And so their technology isn't as high as ours. And they don't have like planes like ours. They have zeppelins and things like that, you know, like it's just different. So, but they have guns and they have, you know, they have other things. They have mobile phones, but they're different. Like they have rotary phones and answering machines, but different. Anyway, so as I said, I only read part of the first chapter. I just decided after 13 pages that I was going to read this anyway. So I just stopped there where there was a break because something happened, or she got some information about her sister who is missing. So I'm going to read this, at least this first book. So this is a keep. So this was a good one as well. So as a recap, I did okay. 4 of them though, let's see if I can get I'm not going to be able to do this. The cats are on me. So 4 of them I am going to unhaul, which is Nightlife, Heart of the Dragon, City of Light, and Mortal Coils. I'm just going to let these go. I don't really feel like reading them at all. So they didn't do anything for me. The ones that are maybes, the ones I want to try a little bit more to make a decision is Tempest Rising, Primal Law, and Moon Called. So those ones, so that's 3 of those. And then the last 3 are the ones I'm going to keep and I hope to read fairly soon, which is Shadowkin, Kojiki, sorry, tried to rush that one, and God Save the Queen. So this one was, as I said, this is going to probably fluctuate on how many I get rid of and how many I keep and how many are maybes. And so this one was a little bit more on the unhaul than the last time. But I'm really, I think I made some good decisions here. So that's the end of this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you've read any of these series, let me know what you thought. As I said, the only one that's, again, in the maybe group is that I'm really unsure if I'm ever going to pick up again is Moon Called. But I just feel like I should try it again to see what happens, because everybody loves that series but me. So I don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, that's this week's vlog for this. I will next week pick another 10. I have gone through some of my shelves, not too many, and I do have even more than 50 now that I found. So we'll see if I end at 50 or at 5 videos, or if I do an extra one just for whatever stragglers I find. I haven't gone through all the shelves yet, so I have a lot of first books that are urban fantasy, paranormal, fantasy-ish, that are mass markets, so that I want to get through to make some decisions on. So yeah, and it doesn't help that I bought another one today. Anyway, so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and again, let me know if there's any of these that you really enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.